Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. It is Dr. Cheryl Clarke, and it is time for your power call. Yes, I come live every single Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I come to get you moving for this morning, get you prepared for this morning, get you ready to say, I can conquer the week. And being able to move through this season of my life, whichever you may be in. So, this is your first time here. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm excited to be with you this morning because this is an opportunity for you to say, I'm going to pause and I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to pause and understand about myself, a little bit about what I maybe didn't know, but now that I can know this, I can be a better version of me. That I could be able to speak my power now, be in my power, stand in my power without apologies. So let's go forward. If you have your Speak Your Power Now, if a girl, you're cute now, we have a Speak Your Power Now declaration inside the book. And that declaration stands in the forefront of who we are. We stand and we say this before each session because we have to ground ourselves and declare who we are. So take a nice, slow deep breath in through the nostrils and exhale that out. The Speak Your Power Now declaration. Today I reclaim my power of purpose. Today I declare that I have unshakable faith and confidence in my uniqueness. Today I declare that I will not live in fear, but with power, love, and a sound mind. Today, I declare that I always communicate with words to empower myself and others. Today, I declare to always honor myself by living in the present and living powerfully in each moment. Amen and Ashe. So we start that when we come in. So I see you all, your beautiful faces, and you moving out your day, your morning. So how we set up the call? We set it up like this. I want to give you some power talk in the very beginning, and then I open up for questions or comments at the end. So you'll be able to have a little coaching, or you have a little empowerment, a little motivation, whatever you need in that moment. This is what it's here for. Now, today, I want to talk a little bit about um, understanding what cultural silencing is. So I put up a post, and you could go and look up my blog post and things of that nature about how a young woman was always apologizing for her space, always apologizing when she entered the room. And understanding cultural silence is something I want to talk about today. I remember a young lady I had in session. I'm just going to call her Keisha. And after a few months, she always categorized herself as shy. I'm an introvert. I'm shy. Dr. Clarke, I'm just shy. I'm shy. And we realized as we started to go through therapy and started to go through some sessions, she was being very careful. And that's the difference between being shy as a temperament. Caution is a strategy. And what Keisha realized that the silence didn't come from her insecurities. It came from her experience. Like many women of color, she learned early on that her voice could be misread as an attitude, as anger, as arrogance. I know mine did a lot of times. So silence became her armor. She silenced herself. But when she understood that silence became a condition response to biases that she was experiencing, and it wasn't just a personality, it was a cultural silencing. And there is something you want to catch. You weren't born silent. You were born screaming. Most of us were born screaming. Like they even tapped you like, do you to scream, right? But we were trained to survive. We were trained around that. So let me give you some psychology surrounding behind the cultural silencing so I can really ground you in that. It's called, we would say in the psychology, social learning. So social learning is the behavior when we observe others, right? And we get rewarded or we get punished. That's social silencing, social learning. And we learn from an early age, especially women of color. We see what happens when we speak. We see what happens when we speak our truth too soon. And see what happens when we're passionate about something. We see what happens when that starts to happen to us. So we learn to keep silent, to keep the peace. Even when it costs us things that we may desire to do. And over time, we have emotional suppression. We're not able to give our emotions in a space that we can regulate them and be able to now have an emotion, have an opinion in a safe space. And research even shows that chronic suppression of that, not just your words, it suppresses your nervous system. It raises your cortisol, and increases your anxiety. It leads to burnout, fatigue, and depression. It leads to all that. See, the dangerous part of that is when your silence lasts too long. And then what it does is the brain wires itself to stop seeing silence as a response and believe that it's part of your personality. Oh, I'm just shy. But it's not. It's an adaptive survival tool that you have created for yourself. And your body learns being quiet keeps you safe. Your body learns that if you're invisible, maybe they won't see me. That's protection. But still, something you're hearing whispering, I want to be heard. Or maybe there's a better way. So, this is why I created the Voice Recovery. It's a program that helps you do that. This is why I created a space to speak your power now, because the framework, it recovers that process. And it recovers you in 5 different ways. It brings awareness, recognizing that silence doesn't have to be shy, but maybe it was a survival tool. So once you have awareness about that, you can raise your hand and say, okay, maybe that is something that maybe I suppress, or maybe you are screaming and yelling, and that's even a survival tool. There's things that we do that keeps us to survive. Nobody's gonna ever hurt me again, so I'm gonna start screaming and yelling. No one's ever gonna hurt me again, so I'm gonna be quiet. And there's a happy medium there. So I want you to ask yourself today, where did I learn that my voice wasn't safe? And I remember I've talked about this a lot. When trauma happens and things happen in your life, the first thing to take away is your voice. So, what I teach and what I help people to understand through the voice recovery experience is that releasing any guilt, any fear, anything of being having a perfectionism, anything that's attached to your voice that will stop you from speaking up. And then you got to reclaim it. See, reclaiming it is a process. Rebuilding it to have internal safety, teaching your nervous system that your expression and your peace can coexist with each other. And then you can be able to amplify your voice. Use your voice intentionally, not just to speak to shift the atmosphere, but not just to speak, just to be speaking, but to shift atmospheres and systems. This is why I said, speak your power now is a movement. Girl, you cute is a movement. Because it's a mindset that as we are reconditioning our neurotransmitters, right? That means that we're rewiring the brain. We're literally retraining our brain to associate being seen with safety, being heard with safety, and have emotional regulation. And every time you speak, when you stay silent, your brain creates a new pathway, a new story for safety. Every time you wouldn't stay, every time you would now speak up, now your brain creates a new pathway to say, I could have a story of safety here with me speaking up. You know, my favorite person, Maya Angelou, when her voice rose after her being silent and a selective mute for so many years, her voice began to move into spaces through her writings. And when she spoke again, she discovered something through her writings. She got healed. She healed so many. Her silence was a trauma response. It was responding to her trauma. Her recovery and her understanding how to recover her voice is the same true for you. Your silence was a protection, or you yelling was a protection. I mean, I know that was for me. The voice can be your liberation, your voice. And where I want you to look at your life today, I want you to write down some spaces and places where you may have allowed yourself to say, oh, I'm too shy. Oh, I'm an introvert. And when you look at yourself now, I want you to see how you are now going to stand up and understand what that looks like for you. Because as you're moving through your life, you're going to find some things that you may not realize that your voice can recover from things. And as you go through your life, I want you to see how you've been calling it and playing it safe. How your life has been a subtotal of mislabeling the quietness as shyness, or what you really want to call yourself. See, when you have that Latino lady that maybe they say, oh, she might say, oh, you're too loud. Or maybe that black professional woman, and every email sounds, like she's screaming at us. Or maybe an Asian woman that holds back her ideas because she feels like she's being seen as being disrespectful. I learned all these things throughout learning, understanding my fellow women of color. And in the moment, it seems small, but over time, as you rewire your brain, confidence starts to build, belonging starts to build. And as you begin to look at your behavior, you're no longer going to try to avoid any situation or try to gain someone's acceptance. So I want you to look at yourself. And what we usually do is build a bridge over things that have happened in your life. And this is where you can look at, maybe from a child, you watch yourself get rewarded or you watch yourself get reprimanded. And you learn that silence keeps the peace. And as we go deeper and deeper, I want you to know that you have the power and your voice has freedom. So this is what I want us to do. Repeat after me right where you are. If you're in a safe space, you can go ahead and do this. I'm going to do some reprogramming today. And I want you to say after me with declaration. I want you to say it with some bass in your throat. I want you to say it. If you got some space here, I want you to look at it and I want you to say it. My silence is not my identity. My voice is safety. My voice is a safe space. I am learning to speak with power. I am learning to speak with peace. And that is where you could start right there and speaking your power now. Because you no longer have to have the identity that you don't desire. Reconditioning your nervous system, rediscovering your voice, and being able to stay in a space that you can understand that maybe you've learned how not just to stay silent. And I want you to remember that your voice matters. All right. So this is your time where I hope it was good and great for you. I see your beautiful faces. And I want you to know this is your opportunity now. If you want to open up your mic, have a comment, or if you have a question, this is your time that you could do that now. And I'll wait for just a moment.
Dr. Cheryl Clarke, this is great. I love it. Thank you for inviting me. I thought this was very powerful. That was amazing.
Good, good, good. I'm glad you could make it. I know sometimes you can't make it because of your schedule. So good.
Yeah.
You got a
I thought
question or a comment?
I definitely thought it was very impactful. I think a lot of times being quiet or just even my own work experience. Oh, I don't like your tone. I am talking at the same level like everyone else, but it's almost very much a double standard. And just learning how to even talk slower. And it's like I have to be very disarming to allow people that don't look like me to feel comfortable, even though they may talk out of pocket, even though it is not the same. So I think this was a great this topic was very relatable and I appreciate it.
Great, great. I'm glad that you was able to appreciate it and know that it's a needful topic because we don't realize that your voice does matter in the space. And there are certain things that we have learned to do. So pausing in the moment saying, I'm communicating differently. Yeah, I got that. Or maybe the way you're taking me is in a space where I don't have to apologize for it anymore. I'm because I don't feel I was disrespectful. But at times, as a professional, you want to stay professional. And what does that look like for you? And we've learned in different areas that we're now going to put this in the space of understanding how I see me, how I see me, and you don't, and how you seeing you is now you are now rewiring your brain and your communication style. That's it. That is it. Because a lot of times in professional environments, I will say, I found myself shrinking. And I softened my voice. I did a lot of things that I found myself shrinking. I remember specifically, I was dealing with a man and I was in charge. And he could not hear me. And I had to get another man to come and say the same thing that I said. And he heard him. And that experience for me, I got really, really angry. I didn't show it. I got really angry. And I learned how to speak up in a way that I did it did that really I had to really learn how to do communication in a way that I will be heard, even when I am in charge. Because there's times that you're going to be challenged to see what you're going to do, to see if you're going to go off and fly off the handle. And I didn't. But I had to learn how to be in the space of that. Anyone else that would like to share anything in this moment? Thank you so much for that, Sophia. Anyone else that would like to share? All right. Well, thank you so much for showing up, coming and moving in the space up for you this morning. You could always watch the replay if you have any questions. I'm excited about it. If you haven't gotten your book, you can go over to Amazon and go grab a copy of Girl You Cute. We're going to be coming. I'm excited about the voice recovery experience that we're doing and really showing that communication is a space. It's more than just an issue. It's a reality of navigating these spaces and designing your own voice to acknowledge the first step that you need to show up to reclaim your voice if you feel like you've lost it. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next Tuesday. And remember that your voice does matter in this space. You matter in this space, and you want your desire to speak your power now. Peace and blessings. Have a wonderful day.